Have you ever felt the weight of a place so sinister that even its shadows seem alive? Welcome to Ravenwood Mansion, where the past refuses to rest. This mansion, once a grand symbol of opulence, now stands as a decaying relic of forgotten times. Its walls whisper secrets of a bygone era, and its floors creak under the burden of untold stories. As you step inside, the air grows colder, and an unsettling silence envelops you. The shadows seem to move, as if they have a life of their own, watching your every move. The portraits of long-dead residents gaze down upon you, their eyes filled with a haunting sadness. It's as if they are trying to tell you something, a warning perhaps, or a plea for help. The grand staircase, once the centerpiece of the mansion, is now a path into darkness. Each step you take echoes through the empty halls, a reminder of the lives that once filled this place with laughter and joy. In the library, books lie scattered on the floor, their pages yellowed with age. These books hold the knowledge and secrets of the past, but they also hold a sense of dread, as if opening them would unleash something best left forgotten. A cracked mirror reflects a shadowy figure that seems to move independently of your own reflection. Is it a trick of the light, or is there something more sinister at play? The chandelier above sways gently, though there is no breeze. Its rusted chains creak, adding to the symphony of eerie sounds that fill the mansion. The basement door stands slightly ajar, inviting you to explore its depths. But beware, for the darkness below holds the most terrifying secrets of Ravenwood Mansion. An old journal, covered in dust, lies on a table. Its pages are filled with cryptic writings and disturbing sketches. What stories does it tell? What horrors does it reveal? Moonlight streams through the broken windows, casting eerie shadows that dance on the walls. These shadows seem to have a life of their own, moving and shifting as if they are trying to communicate with you. A clock on the wall has its hands frozen at midnight, as if time itself has stopped within these walls. The silence is deafening, broken only by the occasional creak or whisper. The ballroom, once a place of celebration and joy, now stands empty and desolate. Tattered decorations hang from the ceiling, remnants of a time long past. A music box sits on a dusty shelf, its lid slightly open. The faint, haunting melody it plays adds to the eerie atmosphere, a reminder of the mansion's once vibrant past. At the end of a hallway, a dark, shadowy figure stands motionless. Is it a ghost, a trick of the light, or something far more sinister? The answer lies within the shadows of Ravenwood Mansion. As you leave the mansion, the moonlight casts long shadows on the ground. The wind howls, and the creaking of the doors follows you, a reminder that the past never truly rests. An old rusted key lies on a table, its purpose long forgotten. What doors did it once open? What secrets did it once guard? The answers are lost to time, just like the mansion itself. The story begins on a cold October evening in 1979, when journalist Elaine Carter received an anonymous letter. The letter bore no return address, only a chilling message: Ravenwood Mansion, nestled deep within the forested outskirts of a small New England town, was infamous for its tragic history. Built in 1853, it was once a symbol of wealth and prestige, owned by the enigmatic Blackwood family. However, rumors of strange disappearances and horrific screams emerging from its walls led to the mansion being abandoned for decades. Locals claimed it was cursed, a place where the line between the living and the dead had long blurred. Despite the warnings, Elaine's curiosity got the better of her. As a journalist with a thirst for uncovering mysteries, she packed her camera and notebook and set off alone. She never could have anticipated what awaited her. Elaine reached the mansion just as the sun began to set. The structure loomed like a dark monolith against the fiery orange sky. Its windows were shattered, and ivy clung to its decaying walls like skeletal fingers. As she stepped closer, the air grew colder. Her breath fogged in front of her, and the silence around her was deafening. The creak of the mansion's front door echoed like a scream as she pushed it open. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of mildew and something faintly metallic, like blood. Her flashlight illuminated faded portraits hanging crookedly on the walls. The eyes of the Blackwood family seemed to follow her as she moved. On the floor, she noticed muddy footprints leading deeper into the mansion. They were fresh, but who else could be here? As Elaine ventured further, she stumbled upon a grand library. Books lay scattered across the floor, and the fireplace held the charred remains of something unrecognizable. On a dusty desk, she found a journal. It belonged to Margaret Blackwood, the last known resident of the mansion. The entries painted a horrifying picture. Margaret detailed how her husband, Henry, had become obsessed with occult rituals, convinced he could summon spirits to grant the family eternal wealth and power. The final entry read, "Asterisk. He says the ritual is complete, but I can hear them. They whisper my name in the dark. They're coming for us. God help me." Before Elaine could process what she'd read, the sound of footsteps echoed above her. She froze. The footsteps grew louder, descending the staircase just outside the library. Summoning her courage, she stepped out, her flashlight trembling in her hand. Act 3. The Encounter. The staircase was empty, yet the sound of footsteps persisted. It was then that she saw it. A shadow, darker than the surrounding darkness, slithering along the walls. It moved with unnatural speed, darting from room to room. Elaine's instincts screamed at her to leave, but, the journalist in her urged her to follow. She trailed the shadow to a locked door in the basement. On the door were strange symbols, etched deep into the wood. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream erupted from behind the door, followed by the sound of scratching like nails clawing at the wood. She managed to force the door open, revealing a chilling sight. The room was filled with crudely drawn pentagrams and rotting candles. In the center was a large, cracked mirror. The shadow lingered near it, its form shifting as though trying to break free. Elaine stepped closer, and to her horror, the shadow turned. It had no face, just a void that seemed to pull her in. Whispering voices surrounded her, growing louder until they were deafening. She saw flashes of the Blackwood family, their mouths open in silent screams, their eyes pleading for release. The mirror began to crack further, and a hand, cold, skeletal, and impossibly strong, reached out from it, grabbing Elaine's arm. She screamed, yanking herself free and running as fast as she could. Act 4. The Escape. Elaine burst out of the mansion, her lungs burning as she sprinted to her car. The shadow followed, its form stretching impossibly tall against the night sky. She fumbled with her keys, tears streaming down her face, and finally managed to start the car. As she sped away, the mansion's silhouette faded into the darkness. But the nightmare wasn't over. The next morning, Elaine woke to find her arm where the shadow had grabbed her, covered in bruises. Bruises that formed the same symbols she had seen on the basement door. Her camera, which she had used to document the mansion, was missing. In its place was a single photograph of her, standing in front of the cracked mirror. Conclusion. The aftermath. Elaine quit her job and moved across the country, but she could never escape the feeling that she was being watched. Every now and then, she would catch glimpses of a shadow out of the corner of her eye. And at night, she swore she could hear whispers calling her name. To this day, Ravenwood Mansion remains abandoned, its doors sealed shut. But locals say that if you stand outside on a moonless night, you can hear the screams of the Blackwood family and see a shadow lingering by the broken windows. Some truths, it seems, are better left undiscovered. Call to action. If this story sent shivers down your spine, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more chilling tales. And remember, sometimes the darkest places are the ones closest to home. Visit my channel to more horror story, and remember, don't cry from my horror story.